Hey everyone, just want to stop by for this podcast starts and say you should like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on all my social medias at John D. Klauser. It's the same name as the name they subscribe to on this YouTube channel. So enjoy this clip, and I'll see you guys on the other side.
Why is the heat not making it back here, honey?
I don't know, babe.
Welcome to The John Show with your host, John Doogie Klauser.
All right. What's going on, everyone? How are you? We are here on a new episode of the Juan Solo Show with your host, me, Juan D. Klauser, episode 147. We're in the hub, this beautiful, lovely hub. Hope you guys are doing well. Happy holidays. It's the holiday season. We're like, what, week 2? Got like, what, 2 weeks left? What, roughly? How much time? It's the 12th. All right? Christmas on the 25th. So yesterday would have marked 2 weeks from yesterday is Christmas. 2 weeks from tomorrow, yeah. Or 2 weeks from yesterday. Then, like, next Monday is the start of Hanukkah. That great, wonderful, beautiful holiday. I don't know. Are you guys familiar with that? Yep, it's the holiday that, was a beautiful miracle. I guess, like all of the holidays, all the Jewish holidays are all based around. At one time, we were slaves, and we didn't have any mama rye, so we had no mama rye. So what were we supposed to do? We had no soup. There was no matzo balls. There was none of it. So Hanukkah, that one was when the Greeks came in and invaded, and all the Jews congregated in a synagogue, and they only had enough oil to last them one day. And it wasn't going to be till 8 days until the next shipment of oil comes. And so they were able to make 1 day's worth of oil last for 8 days, and then was Hanukkah. Voila. Not as good as Christmas. Christmas is way better. There's a guy who has a reindeer. Yeah, he flies around the whole world, gives everyone's gifts, goes into a chimney. Dude, there's just so many elements of it where from the start we should have just been like, even as a kid, we should have been like, are you sure? Are you sure? Because like the same thing happens in the movies, and you're telling me that's not real. But you're telling me though this guy gets on a whole, like he has a bunch of fucking elk basically, and he can fly them, and then he goes around the whole world. And he gives people stuff from a bag. It's like, there should have been a lot of red flags. But we just said, fuck it. We just agreed with it. It was because of the presents. See, now, if Christmas was like Hanukkah, where it was just a lighting of candles and like a gift, if you're lucky, for 8 days, then that'd be different. You'd be like, okay, this is, you would be like, I think a lot of this is bullshit. But it's because of the gifts, and there's like this huge buildup. You're just able to bypass the whole like Jesus getting crucified. Wait, no, that's Easter, right? That one's Easter. Sorry, my bad. This is when he was born. So you're able to bypass all that, and then plus two, it's all a good time. There's nothing sad about it. So you're just there's no hiccups in the whole thing. It's like, yeah, this dude saved all of us, who later on just gets crucified and just gets mowed the fuck down. Like, if there was any story like that nowadays, like, hell, dude, do you hear a story? Like, I have a story. Like, there's a girl in my high school. I graduated with her. Gorgeous girl. Talked to her a couple times. One time, like, I was talking to her. I accidentally spit a little bit, and some of it landed right underneath her eye, and it stayed there. And we continued talking for another, 4 or 5 minutes, and I was, looking at it. I'm just like, oh, God, I feel so fucking bad that I did that to that girl. She's so beautiful, and we'll never talk again. We never talked again. But then, fast forward to what we're in our 30s now, she had a fucking boyfriend who got high on meth and, broke into her house and locked all the doors, killed her because he thought that she was part of the Taliban or some shit. He just had a fucking fry out from meth, and then he lit the house on fire. It was fucking insane. So that's insane. And so like you hear things like that, and you're like, oh my god. Like I guess that's basically the equivalent. That's the same equivalent and a really bad example of like Jesus being crucified. I should just said something like, oh, you hear sort of like, like Jim just took a step down the stairs and he fucking blew out his knee. That would have been a lot better one. And then boom. But then we compare that to Jesus, this guy who may or may not have been our savior. Most likely was a guy, and he died on the cross, which he probably did. A lot of people died on crosses back then. He wasn't the only one. A lot of people died. There was also there was one of the prophets, because Moses was a prophet, and so was Muhammad. He was also a prophet. It's just, again, if you don't know much about religion, if you don't really follow a lot of it, if you want one that kind of intertwines all of them, the story or the night journey of Muhammad from, I believe, don't quote me on this because I'm not Muslim. Well, I'm Muslim by blood, but I'm not Muslim by what do you call it, by religion? I can't remember. It was, but I know you went to Mecca. I want to say it's from Jeddah to Mecca. That's what happened, but don't quote me on that. And so, like, if you want to hear what, and like, there's everyone involved in that one. Jesus is in there, Moses is in there, Muhammad's in there, God's in there. A fucking creature that had 4 legs and then wings on each one of those legs, that is there, and it's not bigger than a horse, but not as small as a mule. It's somewhere in between. So I don't know, just a regular horse. Anyway, just like, or what would it be? That would be a burro. Maybe it's like a burro, because I think a burro. I don't know which one's bigger, the burro or was it a burro? Wait, no. Which one is bigger? Burro or mule? Which one's bigger? Mules are hybrids of burros and horses and are usually bigger. Okay, so I guess I don't know. Then what kind of, it just be like maybe it was just a medium-sized horse. Like maybe it's like I don't, I wouldn't expect the narrator. They don't have very much they don't have much merit, not merit, but they don't have much things to bounce things off of. So like they're just like, it's kind of like a horse, but not as big as a horse, but it's not as small as like one of those like small little horses that we have. So it's like it's not as small as a mule, and it's like, okay, and but yeah, it's a great story. And then that thing, like, then Muhammad flies back and forth and talks to God and talks about that's where we get the number of prayers that like Jews and Muslims have to do per day. It's a really good story. It's an interesting story. It's fucking hilarious because it's just like, okay, this is, you can see, you see why a lot of things and a lot of cultural things occurred, and a lot were built upon that story, but yeah, it's great. Good times. But yeah, happy holidays, everyone. Hope we're doing good. Doing good. So yeah, we're here. I have a little more energy because I'm doing this on my off day. You know how like last week I talked about how like, I get done working out, just doing my life, and then I'm like, I'll also add podcasts on top of that, instead of just doing it on one of my off days and just getting it done and over with. And I have so much more energy, and I have so much more vigor. Vigor. I know I'm not saying that word right. Vigor. It sounds like I'm trying to say Victor. That's what it sounds like I'm trying to say, but I'm not trying to. Victor. And like the thing is, like when vigor. Anyway, I have a lot more energy to do this podcast. But yeah, so I'm doing this on Monday. It's like my Sunday. It's like middle of the afternoon. Pretty easy. Got my, I did today. I was like, today's big goal or the big thing was like laundry and go and get my new driver's license. That's the new thing, because my driver's license expires at the end of this month, which is fucking hilarious, because it's like they last from like 2000. Like the last one I had was from like 2017. Wait, no, 2000 and when did I get that one? That one was college. No, that one was 2000 and what was that? That was 2016. I think it was 2016, and then expired. Maybe it was 2015. 2015. Let's just say that. And does it really matter? For the story, does it really matter, John? Did it really matter? Did you really have to stumble through all that? So, yeah, I had to get it. I had to get it renewed today, and it's so funny because you get like I don't know. I'm assuming it probably works. You would think something like this. There's certain things you think, right? You think, measurements, yards. I mean, not yards, but like measurements of like of a field, measurements of like water. You would think those things would be a universal. We would want to be universal with these things. You would think just to help with communication from one person to the next, then from that person to the next person, and then so on and so on. You would think you would want that. God damn it, you think you would. And then you have like the standard, then you have the metric system. And it's like, why do we have to have two things for the same thing? It's like, this was such a waste of goddamn time. Like, do you understand? We chose there is a group of people over here on the left. There's a certain people group on the right. And each one of them took their flag, standard and the metric flag, and they stuck on the goddamn ground. And they were like, these are where our values lie. It's like, why this? Why this? And that's why we have two different things now. It's like, instead of one of us just being like, you know what, hey, for the betterment of the herd, how about we all just use the same measurement system for water to a field, like to how big a field is. Like, we should just use the same thing, just make it so much easier. And then not just make it easier, and so then later on, 100 years, 200 years, 250 years from now, people aren't like, yeah, let's mix and match. Let's pick and choose which ones we want to use. Sometimes we use, yards. Sometimes we use feet. Sometimes we use, it's like, we don't care. Like, we don't that. And then electricity. You think plugins. Something like a goddamn plug-in. You would think that would want to be universal. You would think that just, hey, we all have phones. We all have boom boxes. Does anyone use the word boom box anymore? Doubtful. Anyway, we all have these things. We all have an oven. We all have a refrigerator. Why don't we all want to be able to just plug it into something? Why does it have to be, well, if you're in Detroit, Michigan, it's one way. If you're in Australia, Sydney, completely different. These, ladies and gentlemen, are the reason why aliens refuse to come down here. These are why. Because these are the flags that they're planning on. They're like, and one of the guys like, a flag? What does that mean? What do you mean by a flag? A flag, the thing that a pole and a flag. It's like, a piece of cloth. It's a human term. Sorry. It's like, it's just so insane that we choose to do these things. That we choose these things. Not, hey, let's all just agree. Let's not just out of nowhere bomb another group of people for no reason. Like, let's just because they don't want to be part of that other group of people. Let's do something like, no, we don't want to agree on stuff like that. It's like, we refuse to focus on things like that instead of being like, well, I want to use yards. Well, I want to use feet. It's like, well, we're both trying to get to the same place here. So how about same thing with I think the same thing too with cars. Like, why couldn't all cars just be stick or all cars be manual? Like, why did it have to been this transition? And now you'd think that and this is going to be the stupidest thing. This is one of the dumber things you'll hear. You'd think no, this would not make any sense. But what I was going to say, now think about it. So you know how sometimes you have to almost say something out loud or say something out loud? Most likely for me, it's saying something out loud to realize, oh, that's pretty stupid, John. Don't think like that. Don't say things like that again. Don't be like that. This one was, well, if they made and they invented the manual transmission, then why didn't they just outlaw being able to use cars that have a stick, or was it a manual transition? Is like the and then automatic. God damn it, John, you dickhead! I said I've been using God damn it a lot in this episode. I've used all the ones I should be able to. And God's like, what the fuck, man? Like what? Like probably people use that like it's like God damn it, like what? Like God's like, I didn't do anything to you, dude. I wasn't even paying attention to you today. Today was gonna be a free day for you. I wasn't gonna fuck with you that much. But these are all like the dumbest. Oh God. But anyway, so where I was going on that tangent, I'll come back to. Well, I say all that to say this. So I go to the DMV, right? And so in the state of Missouri, what they do is they'll send you like a thing saying like, hey, like 6 months out, like maybe like 8 months out, they send you a little piece of thing, like a flyer thing, you know, like normally you would get from like, you know, Publishing Clearinghouse and those like things that says like, hey, your driver's license or such your car, they even do it for like car tags, your tags for your car, which is all everything, which is leading up to something else. They're all, you know, like it's about to expire. And so I got it. And so on the little piece of paper, it shows like, hi, this is what you can be if you want to have this kind of driver's license, you want to have this kind of driver's license, you need to have this, like you need to have these things. And so on most of the time, like every time before this, like when you go to to get a driver's license, I don't know why. I don't know. So they tell you, this is what they tell you from Missouri. They're like, bring your driver's license, the driver's license that you have recently, even if it's expired or if it's not, just because so they can like, well, they put a void little like clamp thing on it. And so anyway, so you go there, and what you're supposed to have is your driver's license, your social security card, 2 forms of proof of like your residence, so they can put that, make sure that so it matches your driver's license. I guess it just makes sure that it's really you, and you know that's it. You know, you have to have these things, and so I get there, and for me, I have a. This is going to show you who I am. So I hate going to the DMV. I hate going all that. I hate doing all that shit, right? So I have a clipboard, and the clipboard has a folder. The folder has, you know, all my stuff. My social security card, my 2 sources of, you know, my address, and then I have my driver's license. I start pulling it. So I go to the DMV. Oh God, I hate it. And I get there. They call my name. I go up to the desk and I start pulling out. I open the folder and I start pulling out all the things and I start laying them out, like so you can see every single one of them. And she's like, "Why are you pulling all this stuff out?" I'm like, "Because it says on the piece of paper." She's like, "I don't need all this," and like I'm like, "Okay, well that's great." And I think maybe the reason why I don't need all that stuff is because every other time I ever renewed it, I never have the little piece of paper that says like, "Hey, in 6 months my driver's license expired." So I'm thinking maybe because of that. Because if you bringing that in, you get to bypass all the other shit. Besides you just have to have your old driver's license, the one that they, you know, the one that's invalid. And so it's not invalid, but it's about to expire. You're soon to expire. I just call it invalid, just because that's what they like stamp into your thing, so you can't reuse it. But it's like so funny because but it's like, so you get there, but they just look at you like you're a fucking moron. They're like, why do you need all this stuff? I'm like, because you guys make it such a big fucking deal, and it's always so cold. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, I know I forgot something, because like they always make a big deal, like, oh, you didn't bring this, you didn't bring that. Sorry, we can't help you. It's like, God, this should be such an easier process. It should just be like, I have my old driver's license. You should be able to scan that. I could even understand you have to have your driver's license and then like your social security card. If you have those 2 things, it's the easiest process. All you got to do is like show both of them, that, and then, you know, and maybe, you know, it should just be an easy process, you know, and I could even understand, but it's never easy because you always have to bring like 20 million different things, and they're always like, sorry. And it's like the slowest fucking process, and I don't know if it's just like slow, because you would think that something you have to do, you have to ask like 5 questions. They ask like 5 questions. You do a test, and like you do like, what are these like 6 signs? The top line, you see, like, just read the top one, and then you do the like. So there's like 3 columns, and like each one of them has like 5 letters, and you just say those like those letters, and you say the signs. Like no U-turn, no left turn, that kind of stuff. Basic stuff that you should know. And it's so funny. Like I love how I love how they on the test have like a stop sign and it doesn't say stop in it, and they're like, "What is this thing?" And it's red, and I get that. You should know it. But I'm like, but that's never how we see it in America. Like that's how you see it like in other countries. You see like that thing, and it represents like a stop. It can represent like you need to stop on this line. Understandable. And so like I don't understand why they have to do that. It's like, yeah, it's a stop sign. If you just put stop, because like we're always going to see it, because as Americans we're too stupid to not have a sign that says stop, because we will just keep on going. Because Americans will just keep on going. And so it's like I don't understand why they don't just write it on there. It's like, dude, just give it to us. One out of these 20 dumb shit things that you have to make us do. So when we renew a license plate, our driver's license, just quit being so dumb. It's like, oh God, but it's just always a fucking headache. It's just always a goddamn nightmare. But I'm thinking like maybe it's just because like that piece of paper I actually had the piece of paper this time, and that's why it was so easy. And they ask you, I don't want to be. I have a conspiracy theory, and it's probably the dumbest thing in the world. But I have a conspiracy theory that if you say that you're an organ donor and you have it on your license, that means that they're not going to treat you, because they're like, well, we got some free body parts right here. So if we just let this person fucking die, and just not resuscitate them, like we can have those body parts, and then we just got a twofer. One person's gone, one less person to worry about, one person to take care of, and we got those body parts. So that's what I think. But I'm like, and then I get there, I'm like, I should probably just go ahead and say I'm a donor, because I don't know. I feel like if you don't, there's something like, oh, you're not a donor, huh? Interesting. Why is this? So, but I'm sure like you probably, if you have like some sort of like, if you have AIDS or something like that, I'm just using that as an example because it's such an extreme version, but I'm sure like something like that is like, you have to say that I can't be an organ donor. I'm sure that's probably the reason why. I don't know. I really don't know. But it is a conspiracy theory I have. But it's so funny. I just paid $27, and it's such a weird thing. It's like $15 for the fee, then $12 for processing, some shit like that. Then you get like a little piece of paper, and then they give you your new driver's license. It's like, it's such a weird thing, because then you would think it's like, it's almost 2023. You'd think you'd have a machine there, because they're like, a driver's license are not. The older ones used to be more flamboyant, because you'd have like a piece of paper, or you'd have like the plastic, and they would print on it, and then they would have like a shield. Maybe that's the reason why, because they used to have them and now they don't. Maybe the reason why they do that is because they don't want people to know what the machine looks like and all that stuff. But I'm sure you can just Google it. But I'm sure it has to do something like that. So you can't break into one of the buildings and then steal it, because they're fucking huge apparently. But yeah, it's just a backwards process. You think there should be a easier way of doing that. You don't need to have all the paperwork. You would think, and I think that's what they're trying to do with the little piece of paper, John. You dickhead. You stop. See how much easier it was than previous times when you didn't have all that information? And it's like, maybe that's why it's so much harder. If you just have the piece of paper, then you don't have to worry about it. Maybe. Food for thought. Let's see here. What else do we have? What else do I have to talk about? DMV. Oh, and talking about that, because like the DMV stuff and like the government. So you know Donald Trump. I feel so stupid for not knowing this. I know about Donald Trump. That's not what I'm talking about. Like, yeah, this guy, Donald Trump guy, like, guys ever heard of him? I didn't even know this guy even existed. Like, such a fucking asshole. Think about it. There's probably someone who's like that. It's like, who's just now finding out about Donald Trump. Think about that guy's life. Think about that guy. And you know it's a man. It's not a woman. Women are too intelligent for that. It's a man. It would be a man because his head is so far up something, his own ass. That's what one. But like he'd just be like, hey guys, did you just hear about this Donald Trump guy? Like he's kind of just saying all this crazy stuff. He said, and like, it's like, yeah. It's like he was our president. It's like, our president? We had a president? Like, it's like, just think about it. There's a guy. There's someone in this world. There's someone in the United States that's like that who had no clue that this man was even around. Had to have been. Wish I knew. I wish I could meet that person. And take some tips from him and be like, what are you doing with yourself that you're able to just completely disconnect from everything? Everything. And he's like, that's it. I don't do anything. It's like, that's right. It's like, I'm so self-involved that I just don't even, I don't think about anything. I don't think about the politics. That's what he calls it. He's like, I don't think about the government. I don't think about like those reality show stuff. I don't like that foo-foo stuff. It's probably someone who hates California. It's like, I hate those liberals. And it's like, but he knows what liberal means. And he has like a giant lizard or a giant snake, like a python that he sleeps with. So crazy. There's a lady apparently. I did not do any research. I heard this from another podcast, but I'll tell it because it will eat up in some time. She apparently had this snake. She did have this snake. She had this python, and she used to let it like just roam around the house and everything, and it would sleep with her. And she would lay in like a fetal position, and then it would like wrap around her. It would like lay around her and she was like, we're just cuddling. And it's like, no, that thing's using it for its warmth. It's using it for like its warmth, right? And that's what I was thinking when I'm like hearing this story. And then she's like, yeah, the one day like I noticed that it just stopped eating. It wouldn't eat anymore. And then she took it to the vet and it was like, was something wrong with it? And they did an x-ray and there's nothing in its stomach because she thought that maybe it had eaten something, or so it was like it's sick. And she told like the veterinary the vet that it's funny because veterinarian sounds feminine, but vet doesn't. What am I talking about? There's no such thing as masculine or feminine anymore. Sorry, I do apologize for that. Anyway, continuing with my story, I shouldn't even say she because who knows? I don't know her pronouns, but in the story it was a she, and sorry everyone, and and the vet was like, no, this snake is preparing to eat something large. So the snake was getting ready to eat her. So think about that. Think about that person. It's that person who didn't have any clue who Donald Trump was, or who like Donald Trump, who just now is finding out about him. Like, damn, this Donald Trump guy is fucking crazy. Have you heard about him? Oh my god. Oh man. But yeah. So when I have like a minute 20 left, so we're slowly sliding into the descent of this podcast. But yeah, you guys are doing well, because by the time like you guys, by the time I see you guys again, Hanukkah hasn't started, but I guess it's more of a ability to. But Hanukkah will have started because I post this on I post this on Tuesday, and the next episode comes out on Tuesday, so it's gonna come out like day 2 of Hanukkah, kind of day 1, first day of Hanukkah, because all Jewish holidays start at night. Same with Muslim, night and day. That's why Muslims do it, because they think it has close with Ramadan, because you can at nighttime you can eat, during the day you can't, kind of thing. Which is like one of the most like things I respect them so much on that, because it's like there's Yom Kippur, which you're supposed to do a day of fasting or 25 hours of fast. I believe that's what it is. Don't quote me on that. Makes me a bad Jew for not knowing that. But usually what I do is I do a small crash course again, like when the holiday's coming up. I'm like, oh yeah, it's this, and this. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I just want to make sure, because it's like, because they're all the same but not the same. It's such a crazy field. Oh gosh, stop. But yeah, it's anyway. So yeah, so next time you see this, happy Hanukkah, everyone. Enjoy yourself. Get ready for Christmas because it's coming. It's coming. Yeah, be safe. Wash your hands. People are getting sick out there. Drink emergency every day. Drink one. Just drink one of those little things. Buy a box of them. Drink one every day. You'll be good. Do some vitamins. Drink some water. Adios, amigos.